Hi guys, welcome to today's video. So today we'll be seeing a very interesting topic from C Sharp. For you all might have used this for each loop. So today's topic is going to be a for each loop. So how does a for each loop function or how does a for each loop work that we are going to see it today. Before doing that, you all might be familiar with this iterator pattern or iterator design pattern. So this pattern helps you to iterate through the collection, any collection. Therefore, it abstracts the iteration part from the clients. So that's what this particular iterator pattern does. And based on the iterator pattern, C Sharp provides certain interfaces that helps you to enumerate or iterate through the collection. So one of the interfaces is IEnumerator. IEnumerator is the interface which supports iteration through the collection. So what this enumerator has? So it has a property called current property and it has mainly move next API which helps you to move to the next element in the collection. So once the end has reached, then this move next will return false. Therefore you can stop the iteration. This is to reset the enumerator to its initial position. Normally this is not allowed, so this is what this enumerator does. For each does the same thing. In for each loop, if you see, we don't know the size of the collection. So we don't specify any size in the collection. So if you try to do for each on this particular collection, if I have defined my collection object, and here this for each doesn't care about the my collection size. So how does it do? It depends on this IEnumerator object or enumeration object to move through the collection. So that means that this my collection should implement IEnumerator, right? So then this my collection should implement IEnumerator to enumerate through the collection. That makes logical sense, right? Then we will try to see what happens if we implement this IEnumerator instance. For it asks us to implement this current object and move next API and reset API, etc. It's up to us how to implement these things. So then that means that this collection itself is responsible for maintaining the iteration state. So you got it right. That's the main point. That therefore, if you implement IEnumerator in my collection itself, then the collection itself is the main guy who is responsible for maintaining the iteration state. So when that happens, there are certain issues with that. So if you know already what all issues it can cause, then please do comment in the comment box below. Also, it is the same, it is due to these issues only. Any collection in C Sharp does not directly implement IEnumerator. You can check that out. So if you know the reasons, please do comment in the comment box below. So proceeding ahead, then what is the issue if this collection implements IEnumerator? One of the issue is that if you use nested for each, which works on the same collection, in the same my collection, if it works on, then what happens is since the collection object itself is responsible for maintaining the iteration state, each for each loop can impact each other, or interleaving of data can happen and each for each will impact each other's state, and it can be an undefined behavior or it will not work as expected because we are using the same collection object and the same collection object is maintaining the iteration state which the for each depends upon. Then what we can do, one way is to separate out the state keeping or the responsibility of keeping the iteration state out from the collection to a separate object. Therefore, that's what we will do now. Therefore, we will create a separate class called enumerator, and we will implement the IEnumerator interface. So if you implement IEnumerator interface, it will ask us to implement the get this current and move next, which is there in which we have seen before. So let's assume we have implemented this particular logic for this enumerator instance, and Then how do we plug in this enumerator? How do we kind of a chain this enumerator or attach this enumerator to that particular collection? So that is done by this IEnumerable interface. IEnumerable interface. So there is a generic version of this interface also. If I am not talking about that, the generic version is derived from this non-generic version of IEnumerable interface. So that also follows the same pattern. So let's see what in IEnumerable, if we implement IEnumerable, what we have to implement. So we have to implement this get enumerator, which is nothing but we have to return the enumeration object, which is nothing but my enumerator. So we will return our enumerator object which is attached to this collection. So this is how we link the enumeration object to the collection. Therefore, this what it does is for each collection instance there will be a separate enumeration object associated with it, which maintains the state of the iteration, the state of the enumeration. So that massively helps if you have a nested for each loop, and in nested for each loop depends upon a different enumeration object. So before proceeding to that, to bring much more clarity, let me tell how this for each loop will translate into. So this for each loop will translate into like this. So first what we will do, we will get the enumerator, mc dot get enumerator. So this particular guy, my enum I will define. So using this my enumerator, what I will do is my enumerator dot move next I will do, so that I can iterate through the collection. And then to get the current thing, so what I will do, my enum dot current. So this will give me the current item in the collection that we are looking at. So one for each loop. So one this for each loop translates to this code if you compile it. Really see if after implementing the IEnumerable in this my collection this particular error has gone, that means that for each loop depends upon IEnumerable. So how it depends upon IEnumerable is that it tries to get the enumerator object of that particular collection, and using that enumerator object it iterates through the collection until the items in the collection finishes, or we reach the end of the collection. So I hope I was clear about IEnumerator. What is IEnumerator? What is IEnumerable? It is a lot of confusion for most of the developers. Why we have this IEnumerator? Why we have IEnumerable? It gets confusing, right? So I hope I made it clear. If you have further doubts, please do comment in the comment box below. I am more than happy to help you guys. So if you like this particular content, please do like, share, and subscribe to this particular channel. And see you guys in the next video.